The arrogant empire, the void between stars, held no mercy for the weak. Fleet Commander Vaxter of the Zephyrian Empire knew this truth better than most. Standing 7 feet tall with 4 powerful arms and crystalline scales that caught the light of distant suns, he commanded respect through fear alone. His flagship, the Sovereign's Wrath, led a formation of 200 warships through hyperspace toward their next conquest. The bridge hummed with activity as his officers prepared for what they assumed would be another simple subjugation. The target was a species called humans, inhabitants of a backwater system that had recently established several colonies beyond their home world. Intelligence reports suggested they were young, technologically inferior, and completely unprepared for the might of the Zephyrian war machine. "Commander," his tactical officer announced, "we are approaching the New Haven system. Shall I begin preliminary scans?" Vaxter's 4 eyes gleamed with anticipation. New Haven was reportedly one of humanity's most important colonies, home to nearly 2 million of these creatures. It would serve as the perfect demonstration of Zephyrian superiority. "Proceed. I want detailed analysis of their defenses." The results were exactly what he expected. A handful of orbital platforms with primitive kinetic weapons, a small patrol fleet of perhaps 20 vessels, and planetary shields that looked like they could barely withstand a solar storm. Vaxter had seen asteroid mining equipment more threatening than humanity's military preparations. "Pathetic," he muttered, reviewing the data. In his 3 centuries of service, Vaxter had overseen the conquest of 47 star systems. He had watched proud civilizations crumble before Zephyrian might, their leaders begging for mercy that never came. The pattern was always the same. First came denial, then desperate resistance, and finally submission or extinction. The Zephyrian Empire had perfected this process over millennia. Their strategy was simple but effective. Identify emerging civilizations, evaluate their resources and strategic value, then either incorporate them as vassal states or eliminate them entirely. Humans appeared to fall into the latter category. Their technology was laughably primitive, their military doctrine non-existent, and their numbers insignificant compared to the billions of species already under Zephyrian rule. "Open a communication channel to the human colony," Vaxter commanded. "Let us offer them the chance to surrender with dignity." The main screen flickered to life, revealing the face of a middle-aged human male with graying hair and worried eyes. "This is Governor Harrison of New Haven Colony. Please state your intentions in our system." Vaxter allowed himself a predatory smile. "I am Fleet Commander Vaxter of the Zephyrian Empire. Your species has been selected for integration into our domain. You have 24 standard hours to evacuate your military personnel and prepare for occupation. Resistance will result in total annihilation." Governor Harrison's face went pale, but his voice remained steady. "We are a peaceful colony focused on agricultural development and scientific research. We pose no threat to your empire. Surely we can reach some form of agreement that doesn't involve occupation." The commander's laugh was like grinding stone. "Agreement? Your species controls 7 star systems. My empire spans 3,000. You have nothing to offer us except compliance or target practice." He leaned forward, all 4 arms gesturing dramatically. "I have destroyed civilizations older than your entire species. I have watched the light fade from worlds that thought themselves mighty. You will surrender, or you will burn." Harrison closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them with newfound resolve. "Then I'm afraid we cannot comply with your demands. New Haven Colony will defend itself." Vaxter's amusement grew. "With what?" "Your 20 patrol boats. Your orbital pop guns. I have 200 ships of the line, each one capable of cracking a planet's crust. Your entire fleet couldn't disable a single one of my escorts." The governor's image wavered as the transmission struggled against increasing interference. "We've sent a distress signal to Earth Fleet Command. Help is coming." "Let them come," Vaxter snarled. "I welcome the opportunity to demonstrate Zephyrian superiority to your home world. Perhaps watching New Haven burn will convince them to surrender without forcing me to travel all the way to Earth. The transmission cut out, leaving the Zephyrian commander staring at a blank screen. His tactical officer approached cautiously. "Orders, Commander." Vaxter settled back into his command throne, crafted from the crystallized remains of an extinct species royal palace. "Begin standard siege deployment. I want our heaviest ships positioned for orbital bombardment. When their 24 hours expire, we glass the planet from pole to pole. No survivors." As his fleet moved into attack formation, Vaxter reflected on the countless worlds he had conquered. Each species thought themselves special, believed their technology or courage or determination would somehow overcome the inevitable. They were always wrong. The universe belonged to the strong, and the Zephyrian Empire was the strongest force the galaxy had ever known. Hours passed with mechanical precision. Human patrol ships made desperate runs against the Zephyrian fleet, their primitive weapons sparking harmlessly against advanced shields. Each attack was met with overwhelming retaliation, reducing human vessels to expanding clouds of debris. By the 18th hour, New Haven's orbital defenses had been completely neutralized. "Commander," his sensor operator called out, voice tinged with confusion. "I'm detecting a massive hyperspace distortion at the system's edge. Something big is coming through." Vaxter's attention sharpened. According to intelligence reports, humans possessed no vessels larger than their patrol boats. Define big. The operator's crystalline fingers danced across his control interface, gathering data from the fleet's sensor network. "Mass displacement suggests something at least 3 times the size of our flagship. Energy signatures are unusual, not matching any known human technology profiles." A flicker of annoyance crossed the commander's features. Perhaps these humans had allies, some other species foolish enough to intervene in Zephyrian affairs. It would make the conquest slightly more interesting, but the outcome remained inevitable. "All ships, maintain formation but prepare for combat," he ordered. "If humanity's friends want to witness their destruction, we shall accommodate them." The hyperspace distortion grew stronger, warping local spacetime in ways that made his sensors scream warnings. Whatever was coming possessed technology far more advanced than anything in the human colonies. Vaxter felt the first stirring of genuine curiosity he had experienced in decades. "Translation complete," the sensor operator announced. "Contact emerging from hyperspace now." The main display shifted to show the system's edge, where reality itself seemed to bend and twist. Then, like a predator emerging from tall grass, something materialized that made Vaxter's 4 hearts skip synchronized beats. The ship was massive, easily dwarfing his flagship and rivaling the size of a small moon. Its hull was an ominous black that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, broken only by lines of blue energy that pulsed like veins carrying liquid lightning. The design was unlike anything in Zephyrian databases, angular yet organic, brutal yet elegant, clearly built for one purpose: war. "Scan it," Vaxter commanded, his voice losing some of its earlier confidence. "I want to know everything about that vessel." The results were disturbing. The ship's hull appeared to be composed of materials unknown to Zephyrian science. Its energy output was off their measuring scales, and weapon emplacements covered every surface like the spines of some deep space predator. Most troubling of all, it was accelerating toward them at speeds that should have been impossible for something so large. "Commander," his communications officer announced, "we're receiving a transmission from the unknown vessel." "Put it through." The screen filled with the image of a human female, though unlike any human Vaxter had encountered in intelligence briefings. She wore a dark uniform decorated with insignia that spoke of high rank and hard-won authority. Her eyes were steel gray and absolutely without fear. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Human Ship Prometheus," she said, her voice carrying the weight of absolute certainty. "You have threatened a human colony and murdered human citizens. You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawal from this system or face the consequences." Vaxter's shock gave way to rage. A single ship, even one so large, daring to threaten his entire fleet. Human, you are either insane or suicidal. I command 200 vessels. Your threats are meaningless. Captain Vasquez's expression didn't change. 20 seconds. The Zephyrian commander's 4 arms gestured in dismissal. All ships, target that monstrosity. Show these humans what happens when you challenge the Zephyrian Empire. 200 warships turned their weapons toward the approaching vessel. The void lit up with plasma bolts, particle beams, and quantum torpedoes as the finest fleet in Zephyrian space unleashed hell itself upon the human ship. The weapons struck home, creating a light show that could be seen from the colony's surface. When the glare faded, Vaxter expected to see expanding debris and the satisfaction of another lesson taught. Instead, the human ship continued its approach, its hull unmarked and its blue energy lines pulsing even brighter than before. When humanity awakens, Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the UHF Prometheus, watching the alien fleet's futile barrage with calm professionalism. Around her, the ship's crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements betraying years of training and absolute confidence in their vessel's capabilities. Shields holding at 98%, reported Commander Chenwu, her tactical officer. Their weapons are having minimal effect on our adaptive armor matrix. Elena nodded, unsurprised. The Prometheus represented humanity's first true warship, built with technology developed during the decades since first contact with hostile alien species. Every system had been designed with one goal in mind: ensuring that humanity would never again be caught defenseless. Dr. Mitchell, Elena called to her chief science officer, analysis of enemy capabilities. Dr. Sarah Mitchell looked up from her station, her fingers still dancing across holographic displays that showed detailed breakdowns of the alien fleet. Their technology is approximately 50 years behind our current standards, Captain. Energy weapons are based on simple plasma projection, shields use basic electromagnetic fields, and their propulsion systems are crude fusion rockets. They're numerous but not particularly advanced. Elena allowed herself a small smile. The Zephyrians had made the same mistake as every other species humanity had encountered. They assumed that being first to achieve interstellar travel made them superior. They had never experienced the desperate innovation that came from facing extinction. Lieutenant Parker, she said to her weapons officer, are our systems fully operational? James Parker, a young officer who had trained exclusively on the Prometheus, grinned with anticipation. All weapon systems green, Captain. Quantum cannons charge, gravitometric torpedoes loaded, and our point defense grid is active. The ship's AI is tracking all enemy vessels and has calculated optimal firing solutions. Elena studied the tactical display showing the 200 alien ships arranged in what they probably considered an intimidating battle formation. To her experienced eye, they looked like museum pieces, relics from an earlier age of warfare when conflicts were decided by weight of numbers rather than technological superiority. Open a channel to the enemy flagship, she ordered. The main screen showed the alien commander, a 4-armed creature whose crystalline scales had lost their earlier luster. His multiple eyes darted between displays showing the complete failure of his fleet's weapons to even scratch her ship's hull. Impossible, he whispered, then raised his voice. What manner of vessel is this? Our sensors show it as barely 3 years old. How can humans possess such technology? Elena stepped forward, her presence commanding the bridge's attention. Commander, you made a fundamental error in your intelligence gathering. You assumed that because humanity is young, we are weak. You fail to understand that being young means we are still growing, still learning, still becoming more than we were yesterday. The alien's 4 arms gestured frantically. Our empire spans millennia. We have conquered thousands of worlds. And in doing so, you became complacent, Elena replied. You stopped innovating because you didn't need to. You ruled through fear rather than excellence. Humanity, however, has spent every day since achieving spaceflight preparing for exactly this moment. She gestured to her crew. each of them representing the pinnacle of human achievement in their respective fields. Commander Wu here survived the Battle of Kepler Station, where 12 human ships held off 40 hegemony cruisers. Dr. Mitchell developed the adaptive armor technology that makes your weapons irrelevant. Lieutenant Parker graduated top of his class from the Naval War College, where every simulation was based on fighting superior numbers with inferior resources. The alien commander's scales were now visibly trembling. But this is just one ship. Elena's smile was predatory. One ship is all we need. Prometheus, initiate combat sequence Alpha 7. The ship's artificial intelligence, a quantum computer advanced enough to achieve consciousness, responded in a voice that resonated through the bridge. Combat sequence Alpha 7 initiated, Captain. All weapon systems synchronized. Enemy fleet composition analyzed. Optimal engagement pattern calculated. Elena turned back to the screen where the alien commander watched in growing horror. You wanted to demonstrate Sci-Fian superiority. Allow me to show you what human determination looks like. The Prometheus moved with fluid grace that belied its massive size. Gravitometric drives allowed it to change direction instantaneously, while its adaptive armor shifted patterns to optimize defense against incoming fire. The ship's quantum cannons charged with energy drawn from pocket dimensions, each shot capable of destabilizing matter at the subatomic level. The first salvo targeted the alien fleet's command structure. 12 ships, including what appeared to be squadron leaders, simply ceased to exist as quantum energy unraveled their molecular bonds. The remaining vessels opened fire in panic, their weapons creating a light show that would have been impressive against any other target. Shields at 96%, Commander Wu reported. Enemy fire is actually helping to charge our capacitors through the harmonic resonance system. Elena nodded approvingly. Dr. Mitchell's greatest achievement had been developing armor that converted enemy attacks into usable energy. The more the aliens shot at them, the stronger Prometheus became. Target their heavy cruisers next, Elena ordered. Let's remove their primary firepower. Gravitometric torpedoes launched from hidden tubes, each one creating localized gravity wells that crushed enemy ships like empty cans. The alien formation began to dissolve as panic spread through their ranks. Ships broke formation trying to escape the seemingly invincible human vessel, only to be picked off individually by precise quantum cannon shots. On the enemy flagship, Commander Vaxter watched his fleet die with growing desperation. All ships converge on the human vessel. Ram it if necessary. Elena observed the aliens' increasingly frantic maneuvers with clinical detachment. They're trying a mass assault. Prometheus, activate Point Defense Protocol Omega. The ship's hull suddenly bristled with thousands of smaller weapons, rapid-fire pulse lasers, micro-missile launchers, and particle beam projectors. The approaching alien ships found themselves flying into a wall of coordinated defensive fire that turned space into a killing field. Those that managed to reach ramming distance discovered that the Prometheus's shields could be configured to create solid barriers of pure energy. Captain, Dr. Mitchell called out, I'm detecting surrender signals from multiple enemy vessels. Elena considered this for a moment. Mercy was not weakness, but it had to be earned. Open a channel to the surviving ships. The alien commander appeared on screen, his earlier arrogance replaced by desperate fear. Behind him, his bridge showed signs of damage, and his crew worked frantically to keep systems operational. Human, he said, his voice broken, we surrender. Your ship, your technology. We had no idea. Elena's expression remained stern. Commander, you came here to murder 2 million innocent colonists. You boasted about destroying civilizations and watching worlds burn. Why should I show you mercy you would never have shown us? The alien's 4 arms trembled as he struggled to find words. We were wrong. Humanity is not what we believed. You are not prey. You are. He paused, the admission clearly difficult. You are predators. Elena nodded slowly. We are what the universe made us, Commander. Every species that has tried to destroy us has only made us stronger. Every attack has taught us new ways to defend ourselves. Every threat has driven us to innovate beyond what we thought possible. She gestured to the tactical display, which now showed only 37 surviving alien ships out of the original 200. You have a choice. You can return to your empire and tell them what you've learned here today. Warn them that humanity will not be bullied, conquered, or enslaved. We will defend ourselves with everything we have, and we have more than anyone imagines. The alien commanders' heads bobbed in what might have been agreement. And if we refuse? Belena's smile was cold as space itself. Then you join the rest of your fleet. The surviving ships began to withdraw, their crews undoubtedly traumatized by witnessing the destruction of their supposedly invincible fleet. Belena watched them go, knowing that word of this battle would spread throughout the galaxy. Other species would learn that humanity was no longer the defenseless newcomer they had assumed. "Captain," Commander Wu said quietly, message coming in from Admiral Torres at Fleet Command. Elena turned as the Admiral's image appeared on a secondary screen. The older man's weathered face showed a mixture of pride and concern. "Elena, we monitored the entire engagement. Outstanding work, but this is just the beginning. Our deep space monitors are detecting massive fleet movements throughout this sector. Word of what happened here is going to bring attention we might not be ready for." Elena straightened, her resolve unwavering. "Then we'll be ready when they come, Admiral. Humanity didn't survive this long by backing down from a fight." Admiral Torres nodded approvingly. "That's what I wanted to hear. Return to base for resupply and crew rotation. Something tells me the Prometheus is going to be very busy in the coming months." As the communication ended, Belena looked around her bridge at the crew who had just redefined humanity's place in the galaxy. They were young by cosmic standards, but they carried the dreams and determination of an entire species on their shoulders. "Set course for Earth," she commanded, "and send a message to New Haven Colony. Tell them they're safe, and they're going to stay that way." The Prometheus turned toward home, its hull unmarked, despite facing odds of 200 to 1. Behind it, the wreckage of an alien fleet served as a message to anyone else who might mistake humanity's youth for weakness. The age of human expansion was just beginning, and the galaxy would never be the same.